Okay, so what I want to do is give a very quick tutorial on how to use the software. Now I'm going to use a specific number of models, but it includes lots of models that you can use, and it allows you to focus in on your area of interest and come up with insights that your fellow consultants, your peers, will not be able to come up with. I'm going to draw a very complicated map here, and you'll be able to use the software to draw a similar type of map, and then you'll find, I think, that you'll need to separate it into smaller units, especially if you're going to use it to give presentations. Alright, so here we have inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, sales and marketing, service, and margin. Okay, so I've used there the circular or oval shapes to just create 5 domains that are the primary domains of the value chain, and we're using that's the value chain, and we're using the value chain. It's a very simple version of it, and it ignores things like the value grid, but we're using it as a decomposition model to decompose the business or business unit or operational project. Now what you do, and I'm going to just use inbound logistics as an example, is focus on an area. So let's say we're going to focus on inbound logistics. Now there are various models, and they're all grouped together in the software that make so we've got arrows pointing in certain directions. Now the thing about arrows is you don't really want a domain or too many arrows pointing to a domain. You really want to keep the arrows very, very simple, because not only does that guide your focus and your action plan, but it makes it very easy to demonstrate during presentations. Now let's say we're focusing on the inbound logistics domain. So we've got inbound logistics there, and there are various types of inbound logistics management. So let's say there's factory gate pricing, and let's say there's vendor management. Okay, so what we do then is we hone in onto that area, and let's say we're going to pick out factory gate pricing, and there are various advantages to factory gate pricing. We engage in it for a number of reasons. So we've got, again, another map, and the way to do it is to create separate maps. So let's say, let me use another color. So you can then go from there, and then let's use the red. And let's say we create another with for factory gate pricing. Now, what we do then is we focus in on the pros and cons of that operation. And again, there are a number of pros and cons, and one of them, let's say, is that responsibility is given to the vendor as opposed to the organization. So you're reducing working capital, you're reducing organizational competencies, fewer organizational competencies are required, and you have a wider choice of supply at factory prices. Okay, supply at factory prices. So then what we do is we focus in on a particular area, and we use some of the other models to pull out or to give us dimensions of this this area of focus. Now let's say we're going to use the 5 forces model. And if you're not familiar with 5 forces, the software will tell you that you have existing competitors, you've got new entrants, you've got substitutes, you've got buyer power, and you've got supplier power. So we're focusing in on the positives of factory gate pricing, and we're going to apply. So that's our central domain, existing competitors, and then we apply to that, so new entrants, substitutes, buyer power, supplier power, because each domain is in its own right a transaction, and you can in fact apply the value chain as a transactional process, very similar to CPOC. That's another model. So CPOC is suppliers, input, process, output, customer. You can apply that. It's another transactional model, and it can also be used as a decomposition model, but it's normally applied to processes. That's a Six Sigma model. So then you're using we're showing here how you're drilling down into the particular domains and creating maps, perception maps, and using a wide variety of models to pull out various criteria. And there are, we've just used the 5 forces here, but you can use, well, I think the software contains hundreds of models to come up with various dimensions, and that allows you a much deeper analysis than you would otherwise get from some sort of standardized benchmark sheet. In fact, it allows you to create your own benchmark sheets specific to your project.